Oh hey, let's create a live stream overlay inspired by a video game design. Now this is not the first time we're doing this. Last time we got inspired by Valorant to create some Twitch panels. Today we're gonna create an intermission screen inspired by... You saw the thumbnail. So 3 big things before we start. We're gonna be creating all of this using some free tools. All you need is a web browser and that's it. No Photoshop, no editing software at all, just your computer and your favorite web browser. 2, even though this is gonna be a step-by-step tutorial, I'm still gonna make that overlay available to you for free. Just make sure you watch till the end to figure out how to get it. And 3, the reason why I'm able to take the time to create free stuff like that for you, but also a shortcut to getting great looking assets for your live stream. Today's sponsor, Owned. If you go to owned.gg/getlevel, this is my special link. You're gonna see that Owned is basically the one-stop shop for everything you need as a live streamer, but even as a content creator. You want like banners, profile pictures and all that, custom overlays. The big thing with Owned right now is that they have the official Call of Duty gear, as they call it basically. All of those overlays are official Call of Duty overlays that you can download from Owned. And another great thing that they just came out with is creating emotes. So you can create your own emotes, right? And it's not like you're gonna create emotes one by one. You're gonna create one emote from like a character that vaguely resembles you, and then Own will generate the rest. But now they have animated emote maker. So the emotes that you create, you can animate them. If you already have emotes, you can also animate them by clicking make your own animation. You can log in with your Twitch channel. Basically, it's gonna find all the emotes that you have already on your channel. It's gonna show you some animations that you can have that are applicable to everything else, basically. For example, here you're gonna see that I have this this emote. This is what it looks like. And when you hover, it's gonna show you the animation right there. So depending on what you want, you can just pick and choose, and there it is. Another cool thing with Owned is that they're always running promotions. Right now, there's a 50% sale on all products if you type the code streaming. So check it out over at own.gg/getlevel. That is own3d.gg/getlevel. All right, so I always try to do this with games that are kind of popping right now. And I personally have been playing Overwatch 2. Apparently Fortnite currently has more viewers. Hey, you know what? Share this video, leave a comment if you would like to see a Fortnite version of this type of video. But for now, let's click on Overwatch. And for the Valorant video, I actually got inspired by just the poster here, but we're actually gonna click on a live stream and we're gonna get inspired by the UI, which is something that I really like in Overwatch. What I really wanna show is that the inspiration that you're gonna get from the game can be just something in particular. You can get inspired by just a health bar and create a whole graphic design based off of that. You can get inspired by the menu. So this is what we're working with. By the way, the streamer that I'm watching right now is ML7 Support. Go check him out. He's an amazing support player in Overwatch. Anyways, the bottom part of the UI here is what I really like with Overwatch, but we're gonna really take a look at what we're looking at. Basically, we see that the whole design as a whole is giving like futuristic vibes and a little bit of holographic vibes when you see that character, like that avatar frame right there. The colors are pretty simple. We're gonna see white and we're gonna see some gray. I thought those were transparent, they're actually gray. And we can see a very sleek, very simple design. Of course, it's a UI, so it's mostly gonna use a lot of icons instead of text. And when it comes to additional color, of course, the Overwatch colors are mostly light blue and also orange. So I'm gonna take a screenshot of this and then we can actually get inspired by it. So I'm pressing Windows key plus Shift plus S, and then I can just select where I want the screenshot to be. All right, from now, let's go to Photopea.com. This is what we're going to be using. Photopea is basically Photoshop, but on the internet and completely free. So in Photopea, we're going to click on a new project. We're going to go where it says width, we're going to go 1920, and in height, we're going to put 1080. DPI, we want 300, so we have a very HD looking graphic. And I want to start by making sure the background is selected and press Ctrl-I. That's gonna invert it. All right, so make sure you pay attention because I'm gonna try to say all the shortcuts. If you don't hear the shortcuts, I'm actually gonna have them shown on screen right there. So first things first, what are we making? We are making an intermission screen. So we need to think about everything we want to display. First of all, we need a space for the main frame, and then we're gonna have a second frame top right. This is going to be interchangeable between your camera, so you can use this as a just chatting scene, but you can also flip it and have the gameplay here, and then your camera is going to be top right, and this is going to be a gameplay scene. Under that secondary frame, we're going to have the chat over there, and at the bottom of that main frame, we're going to have a labels bar. This is where I'm going to put recent follower, recent subscriber, recent donator. Since I have the screenshot in the clipboard, I can press Ctrl V and it actually will appear here. And here we can actually take a look, Ctrl plus to zoom in, press space to have the hand tool, and we can look at what we can really observe the shapes, the colors, and everything to get that inspiration, right? We see very thin colors. Now we do see that this is kind of rotated. It's basically doing some sort of arc to go in the middle and go down that way, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna keep it flat. We see very thin lines and then a little bit of accent when it comes to the shape here. We're gonna see those rounded rectangles, but like the rounded part is very small, so we're gonna use a little bit amount of pixels to have that rounded corner. And then we see some lines to accentuate certain things. Of course, we're gonna be adding the color, like the orange and the blue. We're gonna add that last, but now we need to create a full intermission screen with thin lines, with extra shapes to thicken those lines, with white and gray as the main colors, and then we can move on from there. I'm gonna turn this layer off. You don't actually need it really. Once you've observed it, you should be able to just create whatever it is you're creating. All right, I'm gonna click on the rectangle tool, press U, sorry. And for corner radius, remember we need a small number. So let's go with 10. So it's gonna be 10 pixels. So if I click and drag, we can see what that looks like. So there is a rounded edge, but it's not too big. I'm gonna press Ctrl Z, I messed that up. I'm gonna click once, and then I'm gonna type 1080p basically, right? I'm gonna make sure this is not selected, it's not linked, so I can have a different number here. All right, nice. I'm gonna double click on this is the layers list. I'm gonna double click on the icon of that layer to give me the color controls. Click OK. And now I'm gonna press Ctrl Alt T. This is how you transform. This is how you get the transform bounding box, sorry. And then you can click on the corner, drag it down, and this is where we're gonna place our main frame, as I like to call it, our main box. This is where either the camera is gonna go for an intermission for just chatting scene, or the actual gameplay for a gameplay scene, right? Usually you make it as big as you want it, depending on whatever you want to use it for. And what we're gonna do now, with the rectangle still selected, we're gonna have some extra options up top here. And fill is gonna be, you know, that color that we have here. Stroke is gonna be the outline. So I'm gonna click on fill here. I'm gonna click on the X because I don't want no fill. I'm gonna go on stroke. I'm gonna click on the color here. And then I'm gonna pick the color that I want. I can just click here again. Boom, make it white, click OK. And for that one, I want it to be kind of visible. I'm gonna put 2 pixels. Nice, okay. So I kind of like how that looks. I'm gonna duplicate this. There are multiple ways of duplicating. We're gonna use holding Alt on your keyboard, clicking on the layers list on that layer and dragging up. Boom, it created a copy, as you can see. Good practice is for you to name those layers. So this is gonna be main frame, and the second one is gonna be second frame. You can name those webcam and gameplay. Now, while the second frame is selected, I'm gonna press Ctrl Alt T, that is transform, remember? And we're gonna place that around the top right corner. It should maintain the proportions the whole time, so it's gonna be 16:9. So if you have a 1080p webcam, it works. If you have a 720p webcam, it works. And if you don't have any of that, that's fine. You can always scale it up and then crop it. Press enter to confirm the transform. And now I'm gonna duplicate this again. We're gonna use a different technique. I'm gonna press V to have my move tool selected, and while I'm hovering over our second frame, I'm gonna hold Alt and then click and drag. I can hold Shift to make sure that it doesn't move away, so I'm holding Alt and Shift at the same time, and I'm just gonna place this here, around here, right? I'm gonna press Ctrl Alt T again to transform. I'm gonna hold Shift this time because I want to stretch it. Hold Shift, drag this down, and congrats, you just created your chat. You can move things around a little bit until it fits something that you like, really. Click on second frame while the move tool is selected, and I'm gonna drag that down. You usually want the same space, but you don't have to. We're gonna get a little creative with the design, right? Congrats, you created the basics. All right. Third one, I'm gonna double click on the name to name it chat box. Nice. This is where we can start adding decoration to make it take more shape. And we're gonna do this in the form of creating a rectangle like this, Control Alt T to transform it, right click, click perspective, and then click on that bottom corner and drag it like that. All right, now we're gonna right click, scale, hold shift to stretch it down. Okay, press enter. And then in fill, we actually want this to be filled. So click on color and choose white. We don't want a stroke on that. So let's click on stroke, click on the X, no stroke. Go to the move tool or press V on your keyboard and just place this. A good way to make sure that it's in the middle, you're gonna go on mainframe here, and over the icon of mainframe, you're gonna hold control, click on it. It's gonna create a select box here. And while you still have shape 1, which is this, selected, up top you're gonna have the align tools. Center horizontally, boom, now we know it's centered. All right, Control D to deselect, all right? And remember how we duplicated that second frame? We held Alt with the move tool and then we click and drag. So I'm gonna hold Alt, click, drag, Control Alt T to transform, right click, flip vertically, all right? Control plus to zoom in, and we're just gonna place this. I'm holding spacebar to have the grab hand tool basically. Nice, boom. I'm gonna hold control over mainframe to select it. Well, this is selected and I'm gonna shift it so it's centered. Nice, okay. I'm gonna do the exact same thing for both the chat and the secondary frame. So hold Alt, duplicate, Control Alt T, enter, and this time secondary frame, select it, and boom, we're gonna do that. Control D to deselect. You can also move by using the arrow keys on your keyboard, like that. All right, that looks pretty good. We have 2 up here, 2 up there, and 1 at the bottom. One thing the Overwatch UI also has sometimes is circles. So it creates this very complex looking thing. So the design itself is very versatile. Taking that inspiration, we're gonna go ahead and, because something that I like to do is have a spot here that says the word chat, and to create some more UI type of elements, we're gonna create a circle up here. So all those shapes, if you want, you can select them. I held shift there and Control G, put them in a group, okay? And we can call that thickening. Truth is, you should group them with their respectable frame, but whatever. Over at chat box here, selected. Something I like to do is select layers before I create a new one, because I know that the new one is gonna be placed right on top of the previous one that I selected. I'm gonna hold my mouse, click on that shape tool there, and I'm gonna click ellipse, which is basically circle tool. I'm gonna click and drag around here. I'm gonna hold shift to create a perfect circle. Shift is always like maintain proportion and things like that. And I'm actually gonna put it somewhere here. I actually don't mind it overlapping the top, and I'm gonna release my click, right? Well, with this selected, I'm gonna hold control, click on chat box to select this, and I'm basically realigning. I'm pressing V to select the move tool, because that's where you get the center horizontally align tool. Boom, as you can see, it is centered here. Gonna press Control D, and I'm gonna duplicate that shape too, which is the circle. Actually, I'm gonna call it circle. Duplicate that, so we have 2 of them that are 2 outlines of circles, right? So the second one, I'm gonna press U. That brings up my shape tool. Actually, it's not working, okay? I'm just gonna click on it, and I'm going to fill this one because I need it to be filled to create a certain selection. I'm gonna turn off the stroke by clicking on the X, okay? So now circle copy is a filled circle and circle is an outline. I'm gonna hold control and select basically that outline, and we're gonna create a mask around the chat box. Select the chat box, go at the bottom here and click add raster mask. You're gonna see it's created a second layer that has just that little circle in it, and that is what is determining the transparency of that layer. The chat box basically disappeared here because the only thing that should be showing if I turn off the circle layers is gonna be that part, right? But we don't want that. So select the mask itself, right? And press Control I to invert it. So now if I click away, it's showing everything but that little circle, right? Now we want to do something similar, but to the outline here, because I want that part to be cut out so it just does that shape. For that, we actually need to fill the chat box. So I'm gonna go ahead, select the chat box, fill it, boom, and then hold Control to select it. Nice. And here we can immediately delete the fill. Nice. And then select that circle, that is the outline circle, and create a mask again. Boom. Now if we click away, we see that we created that. Now that filled circle that we had duplicated, we can actually use that. Control Alt T. And I'm gonna hold Alt to drag from the center, the corner here, and there you go. We have a cute little thing right there that we're gonna put the word chat and there. If you want to, you can just put an icon if you want. Another part that is missing is our labels bar, and for that we're gonna be inspired by this weapon thing here. So you see lines with that little perspective rectangle, and then we're gonna have a solid rounded rectangle to put the icon of whatever label is gonna be. So bits, follow, subs, donations, whatever you want. I'm just gonna select the circles in the chat box and put them together. Control G, double click on the folder, and that's gonna be chat box. All right, so in order to do that, I'm gonna click on shape again. I'm gonna go online, and I'm gonna put my width at 4 pixels, and then I can click and hold shift to make it a straight line. Remember, shift, proportions, straight lines, perfect circle, perfect rectangle, perfect square actually. Click and drag. We don't care about the size too much right now. Up top here, we can see that we have a stroke, but we don't have a fill. We want the opposite of that. So let's delete the stroke and add the fill. All right, let's drag this all the way up top just to make sure that we are well organized during the whole thing. So second thing, we're gonna do our rounded rectangle. That's gonna be put into perspective like that, except this time we can lower the corner radius. It's not gonna be that visible. Put it to 5, click OK, click and drag, Control Alt T to transform, right click, perspective, drag, nice, right click, scale, and now you can scale it down. Actually, you would want to flip it here, so I would right click, flip vertically, and then Control plus. Now this is gonna be super small, so you're gonna want to pressing space again to grab with the hand tool. You really want to zoom in with Control plus. And I'm gonna drag. Now I can hold shift in order to stretch, just like that. And that seems kind of fair. Use the arrow keys if you want to. Place it perfectly like that. Nice. So this is our shape 2 and shape 3. Not bad. What you can do is right click on them, and I'm actually gonna merge them. I don't recommend you merging anything, but for the sake of clarity and keeping everything clean, I'm gonna merge those so I can duplicate them. So hold Alt, click, drag up, boom, duplicated. Now Control Alt T, sorry, right click, flip vertically, zoom in, and we're just gonna find it and drag it down. I'm holding shift, but it doesn't seem to be working. So just drag it down and try to keep it perfectly parallel, or at least on the same line on that side. You can press Control R to see the ruler here, right? And you can drag it here just to make sure that you're placing things correctly when shift is not working. Boom, there you go. Press enter. In order to remove this, you need the move tool to be selected until you see your mouse turns to this, and just drag it away. That looks pretty good. I'm going to use the arrows to actually bring it up a bit. This is where the text is going to be. And then on the right side, on the left side, we're going to create a full rectangle. It's going to be kind of thin. Let's go ahead and select that rectangle. I might go back to 10 pixels. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe not actually. Let's go 5 again. All right, trying to eyeball it so that it's the same height. You can hold shift again to create a perfect square. There you go. That's what our labels bar, a single one, is gonna look like. We're just gonna duplicate it. So I can select all 3 of those. Control G, label. Nice. Hold Alt, click, drag up. Boom, second label. Move tool, move it, hold shift so it doesn't dance around. Put a little bit of distance so it's visibly not the same thing. Again, drag, click, hold shift, and try to eyeball it into the same distance. About there. Nice. Don't worry about it going off frame. Okay, now with all the 3 label groups, select them. I'm holding shift to do that. Control Alt T, and now you can actually size it up to its actual size. You can make it exactly the size, the width of the mainframe, or a little smaller. I like the little smaller. It adds more depth or more complexity to the design. Just like that, and kind of place it in the middle-ish. Boom. You are pretty good. All right, now I don't like how thin this is, so I'm gonna go back, Control-Alt-T on it and make it protrude a little bit more. So it's the chat box. I actually didn't put them together. It's part of the thickening, so I'm gonna guess it's that one. Shape 1 copy 4. Control-Alt-T, Control plus, hold Shift to stretch, remember? Boom, there we go. Control minus to zoom out. At this point, what I would do before I give the finishing touches of adding the icons to the labels and the word chat to the chat, and then creating basically a cutout or putting like a background image, that's going to be a blurry one, we can add a bunch of decoration. And this is the part where you get to add your own style, but you know what this is going to look like, right? We have rounded rectangles, we have thin lines, and we have some circles here and there. So I'm gonna go back to the rectangle tool. I'm gonna make sure my corner radius is at 5. Actually, I'm gonna lower it this time because I wanna make very small things. So I'm gonna put it at 3, right? I'm gonna Control plus and go to the bottom right side. Remember, holding space to move about. And I'm gonna create one of those like that. Okay, make sure it's up top just so we have a good idea of where things are. Good organization is gonna help you go a long way. Click the move tool. Now we're gonna do our second type of duplication, which is holding Alt and then clicking and dragging directly. Hold Alt, but it's moving everywhere, so hold Shift to keep it in line. Boom, like that. Do that one more time. Control Alt, Shift, click, drag, eyeball it. This looks kind of good. And yeah, you created this little thing. It serves no purpose, but it's cool. All right, Control plus again. Select all of them. You can merge them if you want. Right click, merge layers, Control-Alt-T. And now I'm gonna hold Control on my keyboard to distort it, to skew it, if you will. Just like that. Because Overwatch does have a little bit of skewing. It has a bunch of rotation that we're not gonna use, but I also like this look. I believe one of the Overwatch fonts has a lot of skewing like that. All right, this is nice. You can zoom out if you like how it looks. You want to kind of center it, have the same amount of margin on both sides. Okay, cool. I'm gonna double click and name this skewed. Again, this is pure decoration. I'm gonna hold Alt, click and drag to duplicate, and I'm gonna put one in the top corner here. Another thing that we see, remember we mentioned that there are certain lines that Overwatch would put to put emphasis on certain things. Let's do that too. But I actually did everything in basically black and white right now. So what we want is to start introducing colors. And I don't think I'm gonna put orange. I'm gonna keep it light blue. So let me turn off this layer and let's start putting some light blue lines. I'm gonna click and hold, go to line, 4 pixels. Let's go with 2 pixels this time. Okay, we want the fill to be light blue. There's already a light blue here. This is perfect. And there you go. So I'm gonna click, hold Shift to maintain proportion here. Nice, I like how that looks. I'm gonna go up there. Actually, I didn't mean to do that. It seemed to have modified this one that I have. So Control Z and Control Z again. And I'm gonna create my line and then change the color, right? So click, hold Shift, drop, create shape 4. And now you can change the color. Control minus, well, actually you might have to click, Control minus, boom, go here. In this case, I actually want a diagonal line just to break up the pattern just a little bit. Try to keep the same angle. Nice. It automatically creates it blue because it remembers. What you can do here also is to add a little bit of pattern breaking shapes. So bottom here, we're gonna do this. This one is gonna be up top. Nice. You see me holding Shift to keep it straight. Boom. And let's put that one here. And you can go like all over the place adding those little blue ones. For example, top right of the main frame, I'm gonna add 2. I'm actually just gonna duplicate this, hold Alt, nice, hold Alt again, nice, 3. I said 2, this is 3, I lied, okay? I lied. All right, what I wanna do is take those blue shapes and I actually want to group them together, just the blue lines, all right? And we know that skewed is our little thingies here, so we're gonna select all the shapes here, Control G, And now all the blue lines are together. Something that you can do with layers, but also to groups, is add effects. When you have everything in one group, you put an effect to the group, it's gonna add it to every layer. So what I wanna do here is go to effects and go to outer glow. You can see it adds a little glow here, but we want that glow to be, of course, around that same color. And we don't want it to be too visible, right? So you could lower the opacity here. You can change the blending mode if you want, but I kind of like how it looks right there. Okay, as you can see, every single line has that little glow now. So far, someone looking at this will be like, oh, this is kind of professionally made. It has a feeling to it, and people might not even notice that it's an Overwatch feel, really. So you can create original artwork by just being inspired briefly by something else. All right, let's finalize this. Let's add some icons to the labels. And for that, I actually want to be very careful where I put the icon. So I know this is, I turn off, turn on. That's how I figure out what my labels are. And then under the shape tool, there's actually custom shape. And if you can see it, little star here, boom. And then top right, you're gonna see shapes. And here you can type in, you can find whatever shape you want. Follows usually are represented by a heart, so you can pick a heart. Subs are usually a star. And donations are usually a $sign, right? If there's an icon that is not here, you can just go to Google image and put it in there. So let's start with the heart. You click on it here, and we're gonna click and drag. Remember what button does proportions? Shift. Nice. Look at you learning. All right, boom. Remember our technique to, well, first of all, let's put this gray, double click on the icon, put this a certain gray, and we're gonna take that square here. We're gonna hold Control, create a bounding box, press V to go to your move tool, align it, this time horizontally and vertically. So it's technically in the middle, even though it doesn't look like it. All right, so we're done with that label. Let's go to the second one. Control D, by the way, to deselect that bounding box, otherwise you're gonna have issues. And this one, let's put it a star. So I click on that layer so that the next layer is gonna be on top of it. Click on it, boom, top right, type star, and create a star. Give it some room to breathe. That's like basically the best indication of professional graphic design is there's always some room for the design to take a deep breath. And I put this in the wrong group. That's fine. We can Control D here. We can drag and drop it into the other one. There you go, the right one. Nice. Bounding box, Control V, boom, boom, center it. Same thing here. Last one's gonna be donations. Okay, for some reason it didn't copy the exact color. What I'm gonna do is press space, move it, and this is basically a color picker. So we can just pick, boom, and now exact same color. Don't play around trying to put a different gray or try to remember what gray it was. Don't do that. Don't do that. Why is everything disappearing? There you go. Okay, nice. That is done. Okay, so now let's get into the chat box group. Let's click on the top layer and we're just gonna type chat. You could definitely put a custom shape. Let's see if they have anything like message, or just scroll down until you find something that is relevant. Oh, I guess this would be relevant. Let's click on the text bubble or just the bubble. Boom, again, did me dirty with the color. No matter, just double click on the shape and color pick. Boom, there you go. Two things that are left to do is to add a blurry background, then to just cut out those backgrounds so that we can just slide our camera and game overlay behind it. All right, so I'm gonna click on background next, and I'm gonna go find an image on a free image thing. Now, Pix here is the website that I like using. So that's PX here, HERE.com. And we're looking for something like, depending on the Overwatch vibe, we're looking, another ad really, we're looking for something that might give off that light blue / white look. That is if you're really going for the Overwatch feel. But at this point, you created your own overlay, so you can put whatever color you want in the background, if that kind of fits with the light blue that is. So we're gonna find snowy mountains with maybe a blue sky. It doesn't matter that much because we're gonna blur it out. Oh, I think that looks pretty cool. You could download it in full size, but I don't care because I'm going to blur it out. I'm gonna click copy image, Go back to Photopea and press Ctrl V to paste the image. Ctrl Alt T to transform. You should know this by now, or click and drag to make it big. Actually gonna bring it up a little bit. Press enter. Nice. And go to filter, blur. Honestly, lens blur would be better, but we're gonna blur it so much that Gaussian blur should do it. Gaussian blur. And this is a good time to realize that my gray might be a little too pronounced because it's very visible right now. Let's do that. Okay, not bad. I want my chat box to have kind of a light white / glossy feeling to it. So I'm gonna go on that frame for the chat box. I'm gonna duplicate it, hold Alt, drag up, and I'm going to fill it. So I have the custom shape tool selected. Go to fill it with white. And I'm going to go to opacity on top of that layers list. And I'm going to lower that a lot. It just needs to stand out just a little bit. Now, the brighter this is, that means that your chat probably is going to need to be dark, right? The chat box that you're going to add from Stream Elements or Streamlabs, whatever you're using, you want it to contrast with it. Or you can just make this black. In that case, you want the opposite. You want your chat to be white. Or in true Overwatch fashion, maybe you should put your chat yellow. Anyways, this is what we're left with. Middle part doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. If you want, you can type intermission up top here, or you can even add way more details to this, right? Like more little decoration pieces. Overwatch seems to have like a honeycomb pattern. You can probably go in the background here and create some sort of hexagon pattern. You know what? I kind of really want to do that. So with custom shape selected, we're going to go to parametric shape and we're going to put 6 corners and we're going to create 1 hexa. Oops. There we go. We're going to hold shift for proportions, right? And it's going to snap nice. Since it remembers how we created the other ones, it basically gives us that outline that we want. Maybe we want that outline to be a little thicker. So let's double it. 4. Nice. Now it's very visible. Okay, cool. And now we're just going to do the Alt, click and drag to duplicate it. Alt, click and drag, duplicate it. You can eyeball this. It's not going to be that visible. I'm going to fast forward this part. All right, I created this. Control Alt T. Both my computer nor my internet are appreciating this right now. That's fine because we don't care. All right, we're gonna place a little bit there. Remember, this is gonna be cut out, so it doesn't matter what pokes out. Nice. I'm actually gonna rasterize this. So right now it's like a shape. I'm gonna turn it into pixels. It might be a little easier to handle for Photopea. There we go. Maybe keeping it straight like that is not a good idea. Control Alt T. I'm gonna hover over the corners, hold shift. There you go. I feel like 45 degrees looks a little bit more like what we're looking for. Nice. Now we can duplicate this, put it in pretty much every corner. Nice. Press enter. Make sure you merge everything together. Well, merge everything together at your own risk. Actually, I'm not going to merge them in case I want to move them. Which one is which? Boom. Yeah, that one is a little too much in there. Let's reduce it a little bit. Boom. Select all of them and I'm going to lower the opacity pretty low. Look at that. You're an actual designer. You're a graphic designer, professional. Here's the technique we're going to use in order to cut them out. We're going to fill that main frame, fill that secondary frame. We're going to press Control on the icon in order to select them. And then we're just going to create a mask in the background. That's it. Now, if you really want to cut out everything, you can like put them in a group, but like it would be complicated. So let's just cut out the background. If we have a transparent background, we're Gucci. So chat box is not going to need to be cut out. Let's go find those frames. So boom, main frame here. I'm going to duplicate it. Hold U. You don't have to duplicate. You can just modify it, but I don't want to go back and forth. Fill. You can keep it black if you really want to see what's going on. And then secondary frame, duplicate. Turn blank, hold Control, click on the icon, and this time to add a second selection, hold Control and then Shift and click on that icon. Now we have those 2 boxes selected. You can turn them off for better visibility. Scroll down, go to your background layer and click Create raster mask. Boom. Problem now is that it did the opposite of what we wanted, so we can invert it. Make sure the mask is selected, Control I, boom, and that's what we want. Except we still have a black background. That's not what we want. Let's click on that little lock here to unlock the background so we can do whatever we want with it. And I'm gonna hold Alt on my keyboard, click on the mask that we created for the blurred image, drag and drop, and just like magic, it recreated that background for us. And there it is. There it is. I can clean it up a little bit. I can put all the honeycomb patterns into a one group, call it honey. Let me actually call it honeycomb. This Overwatch layer that's there, we don't need it anymore. Doesn't even look like it. Just drag it to the trash bin. Boom, bye-bye. Frame copy with the second frame copy. I'm gonna keep them there for you, but you could delete them if you wanted to. To be fair, you can just turn off that black background if you want to. I didn't need to add that mask to it. Anyways, now what you do is File, Export as PNG. Click Save, name it whatever you want. Intermission, screen. And I typed that wrong. And it downloaded it right there. So in OBS, for example, or any other broadcasting software, I'm gonna turn off the preview. I can just add this as an image source. You find image, call it whatever you want. There it is. And all you have to do is put your game capture and your webcam behind it like that. And we can make the webcam fit a little bit better. There you go. I would probably flip it, but whatever, you kind of get the point. For your chat box, depending on what you're using, you can just copy a browser source link, place it there. If you're using something like Stream Elements that is mostly browser based, just upload this image and then add your chat box, add your labels, and then you bring that to OBS, and then you can put your gameplay and your camera behind it. Again, this can also be used as a game overlay. Just put the camera right there. If it doesn't fit, you can scale, you can crop by holding Alt on your keyboard, and do all that good stuff. Now, as I mentioned, this one will be accessible to you for free. All you have to do is go to photopea.com, okay, and go to PSD templates, and in the search bar, just type my name. And you're actually gonna see all of the other free stuff that I have available there for you. Of course, that one is not there yet because I just made it. I haven't even saved it yet. All right, so let me know which games I should be inspired next in order to create a free overlay. If you're more of a Valorant person, you can check out this video right there where I actually got inspired by Valorant to create Twitch panels. Make sure you check me out on Twitch. I'm often playing video games or just sitting and having a conversation with y'all. But I gotta say, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you next time. Go out there, make me proud, get a level, out.